I'm about to hit you with some brutal movie truths that you probably don't want to admit. Truths like your favorite movies are just copying older and better movies. You who complain about the Academy, you're just as biased as them. Believe it or not, Marvel movies are doing more good than harm. My name is Tony Brito. I've been running this channel for 2 weeks now. This is my first real analytical and argumentative video. I'm going to rank these movie truths from least to most shocking. And while most of them are my subjective opinion, some are backed up by facts. So when I bring up a fact, I'll let you know by literally putting the word fact on screen. So you know that I'm not making it up. But when it's my total opinion, feel free to agree, disagree, or find me in the comments. So let's go. Number 10. The Oppenheimer Bomb didn't look like that. There are movies that win awards and get praised for their accuracy, realism, and effects. But they're not as accurate as people might think. One of the prime examples is Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer has the Trinity test that is a masterpiece in editing, sound design, cinematography, and acting. But a nuclear explosion really doesn't look like that. It looks way bigger than what Nolan showed us. Here's a clip.
And now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
See what I mean? Then there's Mank. David Fincher tried to make it look like a 1930s film, but when you compare it to the 1930s cinema, it looks way too clean. Why? Because it was shot in 4K and degraded in post. And the biggest offender, Zero Dark 30. The film portrays CIA torture as the key to finding Osama bin Laden. But in reality, torture never led to bin Laden. It's completely fiction. Number 9. Classic movies get a pass for stuff we will never accept today. How many times have you heard someone say, I know it's a classic, but it's just not for me? That might be a code for I actually don't like it and I'm scared to admit it. For me, Blade Runner, I watched it twice and I'm still finding it boring. 2001: A Space Odyssey is a great movie, but the main character introduced at half point of the film is lifeless. Citizen Kane, I stopped watching it at the 30-minute mark. And then there's Jaws and Jurassic Park. I know a lot of people love them, but for me, they don't hit as hard as they do for other people. The truth is some classics were revolutionary in their time, but that doesn't mean that they hold up today. Number 8. Your favorite films are usually just copies of older films. People love calling Joker a masterpiece, but it's Taxi Driver and King of Comedy put together. Logan, great film, but it heavily borrows from Shane and some westerns. The Batman, visually stunning, but it's Zodiac and Seven with The Batman. Midsommar, it's a remake of Wicker Man. Check the movies your favorites are based on and see if they still hold up for you. Number 7. Most box office hits are forgotten while flops become classics. The Batman made bank and was really hyped to death. But are people really still talking about it? Nope. They're talking about the Penguin series, they're talking about the upcoming sequel, but comparing it to like The Dark Knight, like people are still discussing the themes, the ethics, the character development of that film nearly 2 decades later. Do you remember that when Spider-Man Homecoming was released, everyone was saying that it was the best Spider-Man movie ever? Now, barely anyone talks about it. People are still talking about Rogue One because they say that is the best Disney Star Wars film released. But are they talking about the story and characters again? Nope. Number 6. Directors with pretentious, noticeable styles are more rapidly praised than good directors. Alejandro González Iñárritu, Alfonso Cuarón, Wes Anderson, and Terrence Malick, all of these directors have a very flashy and striking style, and most of them have earned a quick awards recognition. But are their movies better than the ones from Christopher Nolan, Denis Villeneuve, Ridley Scott, and David Fincher? I don't think so. There's a saying, the best directors are the ones you don't notice. Think about that. People say that the Oscars are just biased in a popularity contest. Guess what? So are you. Number 5. Moviegoers who complain about the Oscars are just as biased as they are. In early 2020, I argued that Adam Driver gave the best performance in 2019. But people weren't on board to give him a chance and watch Marriage Story and to see for themselves. They just said Joaquin Phoenix gave the best performance. Why? Because he portrayed Joker, a famous character. Actors playing original characters rarely get the same recognition. Number 4. Most filmmakers need studio interference. We love to hate studio meddling, but guess what? Sometimes it makes movies better. Aliens, Forrest Gump, Toy Story, Whiplash, Mad Max Fury Road all had major studio mandate changes that were all well received. Not every filmmaker benefits from total creative freedom. Kind of connected with number 4. Number 3, money and art are equally important for film. Film enthusiasts love that their films are only about art, that studios should let directors be bold and take risks. But the truth is that if a film doesn't sell, the director doesn't get to make another one. Some of the most creative films, Star Wars, The Terminator, District 9, Rocky, The Blair Witch Project, only became great because they had to work within budget limitations. Creativity thrives under constraints. Number 2, Marvel has done more good than harm. Tarantino argues that Marvel movies have negatively overtaken the industry. But here's the thing, Tarantino loves westerns. He built his career inspired by them. If anything, Marvel movies are today the modern westerns. In the 60s, there were hundreds of westerns being pumped out, many of them forgettable, some of them masterpieces, and a handful that shaped cinema forever. That's exactly what's happening with comic book movies today. But Marvel revolutionized the subgenre and changed cinema forever. They built an emotional connection across multiple films, leading to Endgame's legendary stadium reactions. Love it or hate it, no other movie franchise has ever pulled that off. And the funniest part, people talk about Marvel movies like it's this great evil that has destroyed cinema. So let me show you the so-called harm that Marvel movies have done to cinema. And number 1, harshest movie truth of all time that you don't want to admit, Emilia Perez is actually a great movie. I'm kidding. Now, seriously, going to number 1 is the quality of movies is actually getting better. This is considered harsh truth by some filmmakers, critics, or film lovers, but it shouldn't. This is a good thing. I get it. Every generation believes that movies were better back in the day, but the reality is different. If you truly look at what's happening right now, you'll see that cinema is evolving and in many ways improving. Between 2015 and 2021, I was honestly disappointed in movies. The studios were pumping out nothing but franchise films, endless IPs, and safe formulaic storytelling. It felt like originality was dead, and yet I always believed that one day audiences will get tired of it, and that eventually we will return to a time when people demanded more unique, creative storytelling. And you know what? That's exactly what's happening. Look at what's been happening since 2022. Audiences aren't just showing up for big franchises movies anymore. They're responding to quality. Bad word of mouth is more powerful than ever. You can have the most anticipated movie of the year, but if audiences don't like it, they'll destroy it instantly. Meanwhile, an ultra-violent horror movie like The Substance, a movie that was originally only scheduled for 1 week in Panama, where I live in, kept getting extended because audiences kept coming back. 6 weeks later, it was still in theaters. That would have been unheard of 5 years ago. And that's what gives me hope. People are no longer blindly watching movies just because they belong to a famous IP. They are being more selective. They are demanding more effort from studios, from directors, from writers. That's the best thing that could happen to cinema. Now, I'm not saying IPs are bad. I love IPs. My most anticipated movie this year is Superman by James Gunn. But what I'm saying is that audiences' reactions today have more power than ever before. They control what succeeds and what fails, and they're choosing quality more often than they used to. And no, movies haven't gotten worse. They're actually improving and evolving. So what do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you think I'm full of shit? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching and take care of your time.